It's Happy Hour again from Uptown New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just got out of a limousine or just got out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you. Because that's New Orleans, and this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common. Other than we're all New Orleanians in a bar today, we're at the fabulous Wayfare on Ferret Street. Wayfare is a couple of blocks down from Napoleon Avenue if heading toward Jefferson. They have a 4-hour happy hour here every single day from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock where bar food and all the booze is half price. And they have an awesome brunch on the weekend. So come on down and enjoy Happy Hour here at Wayfare some other time. Or just stick around for the next hour with me and my guests. And Happy Hour was brought to us today by Basic Swim and Gym. We can get a full range of fashion swimsuits, workout and yoga clothes with style. And they are on Magazine Street near Jefferson Avenue, right next to Basics underneath the lingerie store. And Hangover Destroyer, the only all-natural product medically proven to prevent a hangover. Pretty good product for you to know about there, Laurie Carcich. And by everyone else around this table, by the way. Hangover Destroyer, if you go to hdestroyer.com, their website, and you write Happy Hour on the coupon code, you get 30% off of your first order of Hangover Destroyer, so you too can seize the dawn. And thank you to the Positive Vibrations Foundation, who create and encourage community through the development and preservation of the arts, music, culture, and heritage. Who wouldn't like that? If you go to patreon.com and search for itsneworleans.com Happy Hour, It's New Orleans Happy Hour, you can be a part of our Patreon family, and for as little as $1 a month, get all kinds of free stuff. And Andrew Duhon is not here today. He's probably in a town near you somewhere, unless you're in New Orleans, where he's not. If you look online at andrewduhon.com, you can find him. If you can find his new record, False River, everywhere that music is bought and stolen. So check that out. Thanks for joining us today. My fabulous guest sitting around the table here are Laurie Carcich, who's bought her own bottle of whiskey. And when I say her own bottle of whiskey, it's not just a bottle that she brought, but a bottle that she made. Thank you very much. You're pouring us shots. Yes. It's very nice. Laurie, this is called Country Smooth Whiskey. It is. And you have to talk into this black thing. Okay. I know that.
I've done that once or twice.
And you make this. You own this company called Country Smooth Whiskey.
I do.
How did you start making whiskey?
I'm the founder and CEO of Country Smooth Whiskey, and we were founded in 2015 in Southern California. I was born and raised on country music, college football, all things Americana.
Just like Jose Fernandes, who's here as well. You were brought up with the same thing.
Yeah, definitely.
In Portugal.
Actually, I was born in Angola, Africa.
You're African?
Oh,
yeah,
fantastic.
I'm
So
African.
you're an actual African-American?
Often I'm the only African around wherever I am.
No kidding.
But culturally I'm not African, and I only lived there for 2 years. My dad was in the military. He was part of the colonial apparatus.
From what country?
From Portugal.
Oh.
Yeah, Portugal was the colonial country, and I was born in one of the colonies, which was Angola, but I only lived there for 2 years.
So you're from Angola?
Yes.
I'm, geographically from Angola.
Not the same Angola that we talk about when we talk
No.
about...
As a matter of fact, I did have a friend. He's a conceptual artist from Angola, Africa, and he came here. He was part of the CAC show that we also were part of, and we did take him to Angola, Louisiana. He wanted to...
You did?
Very different.
Yeah. He wanted to see...
part of the rodeo? You made him part of the rodeo out there? Or?
No, it was after the rodeo. It was nothing. The only thing that was happening was the...
You just went to the jail for the hell of it?
We just went. There's a museum.
Is there?
Yeah, there's a museum, and they do
Did
sell...
Did you guys know that?
Yeah.
No.
This is Blake Quick.
Yeah, they actually
from the band
took me,
The Quickening, by the way.
I went to high school down here. They took us on a field trip out there one time for high school. Yeah, it's pretty creepy.
How far is it from downtown New Orleans?
It's about an hour. It's right by Baton Rouge.
Oh, okay.
We could all get in the car now and be there in an hour. So what's in the museum at Angle?
Well, I mean, they have like books. They have, photographs, a lot of T-shirts and mugs. And also they have the molasses that they make over there that they're very eager to sell. And they make that, of course, with the labor of the prisoners, Sure. So, but it's besides that, it's a nice, really nice, interesting, no, I won't say nice, but it's an interesting museum because they have photographs, very old photographs from the early 20th century.
Right.
They also have an example of a cell. They have... And one thing that was very strange was like they have a whole collection under glass of different handmade jail-made weapons.
Shanks and
all kind of crazy stuff.
Stuff that they've confiscated from prisoners.
Confiscated after fights and stuff like that.
Blake, do you remember any of this from high school? What high school did you go to?
I went to Brother Martin out in Gentilly.
They try and scare you straight by taking you
for sure.
out to-
They let you talk to prisoners and stuff. They would bring in, and of course the first thing he has to say is, I don't like to talk about what I'm in jail for, but if you ask me, I have to tell you why I'm here. And so of course one of the kids, what were you here for? I killed my mother. And everyone was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
No one wanted to ask him any more questions.
It would be
after
great if you could get away with that. How did he think he was going to get away with it?
Yeah, exactly.
Did he describe the circumstances?
I believe the guy was on drugs. He was 16 years old or something. He was in a fight, an argument with his mom, and decided to take it out on her in the worst way possible. I don't know why I'm
That was
talking
the one
about.
person you asked?
It was 2 prisoners.
That was the first prisoner you
And
asked?
that was, the one person. I guess they brought him in there for a reason.
These are the guys they bring in to show the high school kids.
Jeez, don't kill your mother.
Guy killed his mom.
I guess one of the lessons they learn is not to ask the
don't ask a prisoner why he's there.
Wow. So both of you guys have got pretty vivid memories of your trip to Angola. How long ago did you go?
Mine was pretty recent. I mean, I've been around New Orleans for 40 years.
Wow.
I came here to college, but I was in Hammond, Louisiana, so I had a tennis scholarship.
South.
So
You came on a tennis
I arrived
scholarship?
here in a parachute. It was like I would have never picked that town. Southeastern. I would have never picked that place to go to school. I mean, out of randomly.
Just wait up. You got a tennis scholarship from what country?
From Portugal.
From Portugal.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
How the hell did that happen?
I was national champion in my country in the juniors.
You're a national tennis champion.
Yeah, in juniors.
How
Thank you.
about that?
Appreciate it.
There you go.
So
Come
that
on.
gave me the opportunity to go play
And Hammond?
tournaments. No, it was the first one. The tournament that I played in the United States. I played several international tournaments, but one of them, the important one, was the Orange Bowl in Miami, and the Orange Bowl in Miami, and that's like almost 2 months of like a circuit of my 5 tournaments. In one of those tournaments that I actually went to the quarterfinals, I was just invited to. I was invited to come to Southeastern. I had a couple other Louisiana coaches that were interested in me. I guess Northwest, something like that. I forget the name of the university.
Right.
But I look in the map, even as a 17-year-old in Portugal, I looked at the map, and I saw that Hammond was a lot closer to New Orleans than the other places like
LSU.
LSU was not one of the ones that invited me. It was more like really far away, like
Ruston,
Shreveport and stuff like that.
yeah.
You know, which I have nothing against those communities, but
You want to be in New Orleans.
Not where you want to be.
yeah, I wanted to be close to New Orleans. Yeah, and when I arrived in Hammond, and I can imagine this was 1979. I can imagine how like Shreveport would have been, but even Hammond was like a scene of the Last Picture Show, the Peter Bogdanovich movie, which was like 1973 Texas, windy and just one main street. I mean, that's how it was. So I think I did well though picking a city that was so, because the moment I had a chance, I moved here.
What did you think as a kid, though? Did you know anybody else? Were you just totally by yourself?
No, but New Orleans is world famous. Even back in 1970s in Europe, of course, in a small country like Portugal, even though we did have a dictatorship, fascist dictatorship, so we're not like France. We were like a country that was kind of isolated with a dictatorship, so we didn't even have Coke until 1973. But
So
even then...
You grew up in a fascist dictatorship in
Yes, until
Portugal.
I was 15 years old.
So
yeah.
are you seeing any parallels now?
Yeah, I mean, well, by the time I arrived in the world, the dictatorship was way far along its journey. So, because we started, it was 1926 when they instituted the dictatorship. It was 1975 or 74 actually when it was dissolved through a coup. So it was many years. So
But
by
you
the time I arrived, it was already well established.
Yeah.
So you were born in the 50s?
I was born in 1959.
59.
Yeah. 59.
So you grew up in your formative years under what was the name of it?
Well, first Salazar, Antonio Salazar, and then Caetano, which was like his disciple, and then the military had a coup because they didn't want to fight in Africa anymore. We had like 15 colonies and I escaped military service, 4-year mandatory, where they're going to send you to Africa to fight.
Whoa.
If you were a kid in Portugal, you were going to go fight in Africa. I mean, nobody wanted to do that, you know, but there was this idea of the empire, which was like a ridiculous empire anyway. So
tennis helped you get out.
yes, tennis helped me. Well, by the time I came here, we already had like instituted
Change.
democracy, but it was very chaotic. In you know, the first years of democracy, it was like really crazy, and the country was crazy, and I really
Major
wanted
change.
and I did want to leave. I did want to leave, so coming here was like great. It was a lot of
It's one
fun.
of the best cities in the entire country to.
Oh, definitely, because at that time I really didn't know as much of the culture of New Orleans. And more like coming from Hammond here on the weekends with other tennis players and partying, you know.
How long did you play tennis for? Did you give that up pretty quick?
Right after college, I pretty much stopped.
Stopped
But I
that.
picked it up later.
Right,
Because
right.
I had been playing since I was like 11, competitive since I was like 13, and it was pretty intense throughout my junior years, and then even in college, you have to play so much and travel that by the time I
Joints.
finished college, I was like, you know, heading
Right. So, Blake, how did you get from being a high school student at Brother Martin to being a full-time musician in New Orleans?
I basically started playing music for fun during high school with a group of buddies of mine. You know, hanging out after school and in my friends' parents' backyard and stuff, and smoking doobies, getting inspiration, and we actually started a band right after that down here as soon as I got out of high school, basically. And I was in college, not too far away from here, which is in Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Yeah.
It's about an hour and a half away, not bad.
Yeah.
And so I was coming back every weekend anyway, because there's not a whole lot to do out there in Hattiesburg.
What was the name of your band when out of high school?
That band, I was in Flowtribe.
was
Started a while
Flowtribe.
ago. Yep,
Well, Flowtribe is a big deal.
that's right. Apparently.
Yeah. yeah. So you were in Flowtribe for quite a long time. You started Flowtribe.
Right. Yep.
You're one of the founding members.
One of the founding members. I played for
Still with them?
for about I started another band about 5 years ago. After 8 years of playing with Flowtribe, started the Quickening.
What's the official
After
story
your last
about
name?
why you're not in Flowtribe anymore? Then?
I actually got kicked out. They
got
actually
It's
they
like
didn't
Fleetwood
like
Mac.
they didn't like the direction that I was trying to take the music. I was trying to do a little more mind expanding music, a little more improvisational jamming, and you know, kind of more feeling. And they were more about suiting up, putting on a performance, trying to play this role of, you know, rock stars and stuff. And I don't think I really quite fit in with them at that point. So I think they saw it as an opportunity to say,
Yeah.
look, you're obviously going a different way.
Creative differences.
Yeah, creative differences for sure.
Were you surprised by the conversation at the time?
Yeah, it was a little more dirtier than saying, "Oh, we have creative differences." They kind of just pulled the rug out from under me. But you know, I see it as a positive motion now
Awesome.
for sure. Yeah, definitely.
How long have you been in your new band?
The new band's been around for 5 years. Yeah, we have 2 CDs out. We just came out with one in this past summer. And when I started the band 5 years ago, it's exactly how I wanted it to sound, exactly how I imagined it sounding when I started it 5 years ago. So I really feel like we kind of nailed it with this last album.
And what's this album called?
It's called Begin Again.
Begin Again. So the
Right.
first one
Yeah.
was called The Skip. What was the Skip album
Yeah,
called?
My Name Ain't Skip.
My Name Ain't Skip. Yeah. I like that album. So when did this new one come out? I haven't even seen that.
In June, actually.
Just this year?
Yeah, we had a party at the Maple Leaf,
I didn't even
and
know about
we had a
that.
big release party.
And what's
yeah.
this one called?
Begin Again.
Begin Again.
Yeah, you can find it on Spotify, and it's all
Okay.
over the interwebs,
Okay.
whatnot.
We can
Nice.
steal that, no problem. And the band's called The Quickening, named after you. So this is your
Awesome.
whole
Yep,
baby.
that's right.
So no one's going to kick you out of this one.
Let's hope not.
So Dave Easley is in your band, who's a pedal steel player.
Yeah, Dave's
Which is a pretty unusual move.
he's a magical person for
yes.
sure.
Yes, he's a genius player.
Yeah,
He's
and-
strange. Have you guys seen Dave Easley play pedal steel?
I've been blown away by him since I was in college. I've been going to see him and just, you know, feeling that he's playing exactly what's
To imagine.
in his surrounding area, his whole entire atmosphere. He's like staring at something and he'll play something, and he'll look at something else, and then he'll be in a different mode and stuff, you know.
Yeah, he's a,
And a friend of ours who used to play in another band with him he said, I could get Dave on a gig anytime you just let me know. I'll give him a call. So sure enough, we were playing in Jackson, Mississippi. The whole college
Yes.
people, you know. We went out there, and Dave had never heard us, never practiced with us before, and came on the gig, sat on stage with us, and just watched what I would play. And whenever I'd give him like the heads up to kind of let loose, he would just open up the whole song. And I was like, I can't believe this guy's sound is with our music now.
Yeah.
And he said he had a lot of fun that night, and to call him back whenever. So I've been calling him back for every gig. Whenever he's not on the road with Peter Rowan or making magic with other people, he's
How cool.
He's playing
it's
with
really
us.
changed the whole sound of the band.
definitely. He's our
Hey,
secret
so
weapon. That's what I call
you
him.
want to play something while we're
certainly.
talking about the quickening music?
Sure.
So how would you describe? I would describe the music as kind of like jam band, kind of.
It's a psychedelic jam band,
Right.
yeah, with a little bit of New Orleans funk influence for sure. I call it feel-good music.
Feel good music.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we could all do with some
All right.
feeling good. All right.
Cool.
Talking to feeling good after the song, we're talking about whiskey. So
The
we
two
have-
go together. That's for sure.
I know. We have to take a shot of this country smooth whiskey.
Very good.
Okay, Blake, what are you going to play?
This is going to be a song from our first album called Wind Song.
Okay.
And
Here's to it.
Yes,
You want to try
cheers.
some whiskey?
Cheers.
Here's to it, everybody. Hey, Jose, I see you've drunk most of yours already.
How's that?
Do you
I
want
see you've
some
drunk
whiskey?
most of that already.
Yes.
You guys want a shot?
I have a good ratio. I usually drink twice.
Just ignore the name on the shot glasses.
Okay.
Can I get a little less volume in my earphones?
Yeah,
It
everything
kinda-
seems to be pretty loud, actually. Can you hear that?
Yes.
Might just be on out. I think it's just too loud on the headphone. I think it's really...
I knew a drunken hazy night would lead me to find an angel who had got her wings right on time. She moved from Alabama, now she lives on the shore, handing out kindness, so I asked her for more. The glitter of the sky displayed in her eyes, the sun, the moon, the stars, the earth, they all collide. Singing, laughing, dancing, clapping, carrying on. Anchor snap, my boat collapsed, I'm sailing on. I took her straight up to cloud nine, creating color to find our time. Neon blue and violet outer space, cosmic debris spread across the place. She took me straight up to her living room. She asked me if I liked it where she hung the moon. My soul caught fire from her kindling touch, and asked for the moon and started burning up. Off an open window breeze, creature of the wind did join me. My darling, cling to me just like a leaf on a tree. I take you back down to Frenchman Street. Take you back down to Frenchman Street. Take you back down to Frenchman Street.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Nice.
Street.
Yeah.
You got Frenchman Street in there.
Back home.
So where do
Yeah.
y'all play?
That's what.
We play at the Maple Leaf a good bit. We're lucky enough to have a home there for sure. I also play at Tipitina's every once in a while. Gasa Gasa, which is right down the street here. Hi Ho Lounge. We played the Dragon's Den, Howlin' Wolf.
Is your band fluid? Like, in other words, the band members always the same, or
Primarily, there's a few people sometimes that either have another gig or aren't in town or something like
Yeah,
that. We've done it with 3 people, and we can do it with up to 6 or 7. So,
yeah. It's amazing. One thing amazing me in New Orleans is, I guess with social media, it's a lot easier to do this. Is to coordinate the gigs
Yes.
and the bands. Like I've seen people that I've seen in so many different bands, especially like jazz that I've seen them on Frenchman Street and I've seen them play with like 3 or 4 bands. You know, so I'm assuming that all of these bands are kind of fluid because, you know, it's the availability of the people at the moment, you know.
Exactly. Yeah, our drummer's in probably about 2 or 3 other bands at least. But he's got a good emphasis with the Quickening, so
Yeah, excellent.
he tries to make it a priority.
So talking to bands, Laurie, you're actually, besides making whiskey, you're actually putting on a music festival.
I am.
Here in New Orleans
I am.
this weekend.
I am.
And we're talking
Guilty.
about guilty. And we're talking about, if you're listening to this sometime later, what is the actual date of this thing?
October 20th and 21st, this coming Saturday and Sunday at NOLA Motorsports Park.
2018, in case
And
you
where
haven't
is that?
been.
I
In
don't even know.
3 days.
Where's the?
It's on the
normal-
West Bank in
Oh, okay.
Avondale. It's a 750-acre campus.
Wow.
Beautiful, with a go-karting. You've been there.
Yep.
Yeah.
A go-karting track, as well as a professional race car track. And we have 2 stages, 30 artists. Our headliners are Hunter Hayes and Justin Moore. Country music influence, obviously. We have Patton.
Underrepresented in New Orleans.
Yes, yes. So we have about 8 Louisiana-based bands there. Hunter Hayes is a Louisiana boy, so he's closing out the main stage on Saturday night. So country music was part of the inspiration for me creating Country Smooth, which is I have 3 real children, and this is my 4th.
So hang on a minute. So this is just
She's looked just like you.
just to go back to the music festival for a minute. This is a music festival that's centered on country music,
Yes.
whiskey, and go-kart racing.
Yes, not in that order.
So, which order is it in?
Well, go-karting will be obviously 0 alcohol.
Oh, that ruins the whole.
We have to get our order straight.
I was picturing on getting totally loaded up on this country smooth whiskey.
Doing a
and
little
getting-
test drive.
Yeah, is there a breathalyzer or anything?
There is. So there are
Oh, shit,
breathalyzers
really?
both.
Are you serious? Before
So
you
they can
get
have races
You have
while,
to just do your go-karting first, and
Oh.
then you can.
Yeah.
We're open 12 hours both days,
Okay.
so clearly there's enough time to do it all. So we have a family fun zone, which is equipped with pumpkin decorating, hay maze. Toys for Tots will be there.
do you live here in New Orleans?
I don't. I live in Southern California, but I find every excuse to get here.
So
Yeah.
what made you launch this music festival, and is it touring around the country?
This
Or
is
is
our
it ju-
first. This
this
is our
is-
first festival.
So why would you've chosen here to do it as opposed to either
Texas or-
Nashville or Texas
Yes. So
or San Diego?
this is our first state of distribution about 1.5 years ago for Country Smooth Whiskey, and now we're in 6 states, centered in the Southeast. And I love New Orleans. I love the people. I love the food. I love the drink. I love the energy here. And I know y'all are a festival town, which is fantastic. And there isn't a glutton of country music festivals. We have the Bayou Super Country Fest, which has been fantastic and very successful. Besides that, there has not appeared to have been one New Orleans-based country music festivals.
Yeah.
And since country music is my passion, and I believe there was an opportunity, we found, and this brand is an Americana lifestyle brand, so the track was the best partner that I could find to.
This is also something that most New Orleanians don't know a lot about, is this NOLA Motorsports track on the West Bank, which
Yeah,
has been
I
there for,
didn't
I don't
know
know,
about
like 6 or 7 years maybe.
Yeah, I didn't know about it.
I don't think a lot of New Orleanians go over there, but you can race cars and go-karts around.
Yeah,
you
and I
can
would
get in
say
a
that-
real,
yeah.
you can get in a real race car, you know.
Yeah, I would say that you probably can draw from a lot of the neighboring towns, like
the West Bank and
West Bank, not just say beyond that too. You know,
Right.
Violet and then further down, all around.
right.
Yeah, even from Hammond and all those towns like the north of New Orleans, the very big country music is big there.
Absolutely.
Well, so
and
how
it's
do-
only 20-minute drive from downtown
Yeah.
New Orleans. It's
Yeah.
over the bridge. It's not too far. I mean, I
Right.
know that people drive from the North Shore down to New Orleans, which is over the Causeway Bridge, 30 minutes?
At least.
So it's 20 minutes from downtown New Orleans to the West Bank. And
It's a
I'm
straight
proud.
shot.
I'm proud to show off this. For people who have not been to the Motorsports Park, I'm proud to show people how fantastic it is. The buildings, the infrastructure, the everything about it is top notch.
Yeah.
And I'm proud to,
Right. It's a
to
cool
have our
track.
first festival there.
Yeah, congratulations.
And are you freaking out now?
Absolutely.
How do you manage?
This helps.
Yeah. Do you have like a person here that manages the whole thing? I mean,
Right. So I have a whole production crew, and the track team they've been the best partners
Yeah.
imaginable. And I've been doing a lot of marketing PR. We're marketed on ABC and CW commercials.
And you're on Happy Hour, so that's another 3 people at least
I
who's
love
going to
it.
find out about it.
And in iHeart stations, we have 11 country music radio stations in 3 states we're marketing, and Facebook.
Okay. Did
all
anyone
that.
tell you about how it works here in New Orleans, that nobody buys a ticket to anything? Just to reassure you?
No one buys, or they buy the day
No,
of.
yeah, they buy the day off.
Oh.
Nobody plans anything.
I feel like
So you
I've
think that
aged
no one's
5
gonna-
years in 2
Right.
weeks because
Yeah.
of that very reason.
Right. You think no one's going to come.
Well, a lot of people here do this through sponsorships with so it's free entrance.
Yes.
We have tons of festivals that are free entrance. Of course, Jazz
Right.
Fest is not, and there's a few that are not.
And Super Bayou Country Fest is not either, you
Yeah.
know.
How much does this cost to get into the...
So,
Country Smooth
well,
Fest?
right now, so general admission, which gives one day is 60, but we have a 20% off right now, currently on the website.
Well, who could figure that out? I don't know. How much is it?
That's $48. after the
48 bucks,
discount.
okay.
I'm a math girl too.
All right. You have a business background.
I do.
So you started off in business.
I did.
You went to business school
I did.
and got a degree in business.
Accounting, business.
What happened to you after then? How did you get off the rails into making
I
this?
wised up. Just kidding. So my dad was a very successful CFO. Went to USC in business, finance, and accounting, and I took after him. So I have a business degree with an emphasis in accounting, and I
Did he
went.
give you a whole lot of money?
It was, you know. I'm not
Yes
saying
or
he gave me
no?
a whole lot of money, but he definitely gave me a lifelong's worth of lessons.
But
and
did
hard
you
work.
inherit tons of cash or something that you could finance this whole thing with?
No.
No.
My parents are
Okay.
still alive,
Okay.
and their
But
parents.
nonetheless, did he give you tons of money to start this off with? Is he like
No.
super wealthy?
No.
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 So you've done this all by yourself?
Yes.
Holy crap. Okay.
Yeah. Blood, sweat,
All
and
right.
tears, and passion. A lot of passion.
Right.
So I worked for a CPA firm for almost 5 years, and I learned a ton about how businesses are run, how they are poorly managed, well managed, fraud, risk, you name it. And I had my first of 3 children, and I began outsourcing business development and financial accounting skills and services for about 9 years. And then I said I wanted to start my own business in which I have passion for.
Are you still married?
Yes.
What did your husband do? What does your husband
He's in education.
Is he?
Still is.
Wow. So he has nothing to do with this whole
Nothing. And that's great.
thing. Yeah.
Which people who work together or are married know. I mean, some people do very well together, but we're both
Wife and I do,
A-type
yeah.
personalities. And so it doesn't work well because I'm the boss. And when you come in and you try to be a boss for a day, it's not a fantastic outcome.
Okay.
But he's incredibly
That's a
smart.
threat.
Right.
So you're a business person.
Yes.
And you love country music, as just a lot of people do.
And college
obviously.
football.
And college football, okay.
Yep.
So how did you go from that to thinking I'm going to create a brand new type of whiskey?
Right. And I had no liquor experience, which is probably a great thing because it's a
Right.
very tough industry.
I would think.
Well, truly, I've always enjoyed drinking Chardonnay, always,
Okay.
and going to these country concerts or tailgating events or people's homes. I would prefer a certain type of Chardonnay or a certain type of
California.
wine.
Kendall Jackson.
California.
Yeah, I would say like a Crema or a Rombauer or of such. And, you know, I people around me have been drinking bourbon and whiskey nearly my entire life. My dad's a big Scotch drinker. And being that I heard about whiskey over and over in the music I listened to, and it's part of the lifestyle I had, I wanted to be able to enjoy it and not just drink it because it's what's readily available. I also wanted to make so smooth enough for my palate and also affordable.
Jack
You know,
Daniels didn't do it for you, or Maker's Mark?
they're all fantastic, but for my palate,
Right.
it just had too much of a
Okay,
burn.
let's take another sip of this.
Yeah,
Let's
this
see.
is really
No,
good.
in my opinion, actually, I like
Ashley,
it. I'm
you
not
would
a
try
huge
it.
whiskey drinker. I'm more like a Scotch
Right.
Eric, did you get one?
drinker. But this one thing that I have, and I mean, there's great American bourbon whiskeys, you know, and I love a lot of them.
Yeah.
But a lot, what I see, there's a lot of them a little
Syrah.
bit exaggerated in terms of
You've got
the
one.
caramel and the smokiness and all the, and it's a lot of them like artificial flavoring. Some of them are natural flavoring, but it's all like really overbearing. And this one, I don't think it is. I think it's pretty clean.
And that was
It's like
that was the goal. So
Could
when
do a commercial for this, Jose.
I love it. In Angola, we can put you in Angola.
Hey,
Hey, what do you speak?
there's a lot of
Is it-
money in Angola, I tell you.
What do you speak? Is it Portuguese?
Well, Angola,
What language?
Well,
What language is
Angola
French?
has like 16 different dialects, but
We're gonna get back to
the
whiskey in a minute, but
unifying
I'm gonna-
language is
what-
the colonial language. Is
So
Portuguese.
which one? Portuguese. So what do
Yeah.
you use? What's your first language?
My first language is Portuguese.
So can you do like a
I was only 2 years old when I left
Oh,
Angola.
okay.
I grew up in Portugal. My family is Portuguese.
So you speak Portuguese?
And genetically, I'm like 87%. No, I'm 97% European. I just did my DNA. My daughter
Isn't
actually
that
sent me the
fantastic
kit.
So you
to
have
receive
any-
the
For a
results?
whole year.
Little swab kit.
Yeah.
And what are you then?
Well, I'm
97%?
87% Portuguese.
Right.
No, I'm 70% Portuguese, 17% Spanish from Spain.
Wow.
I get
Then
that.
I'm 5% French, 4% Irish, and then I have 3% African, which is the Portuguese and the Italians, all Southern European stuff. But I thought I would have more Northern African because the Morocco and the Moors that invaded the Iberian Peninsula in the 700s, and
So are you an American citizen?
actually I'm a legal.
You're illegal.
No, I'm a legal resident alien.
Okay, why aren't you a citizen? Why don't you become a citizen?
Well,
Because you can qualify for all
You can do
kinds
I don't
of
know. I am
affirmative
going to
action.
become now.
Citizenship,
I never really felt the need to become a citizen because even though my daughter is American, my wife is American, my first wife was American, my second wife was American.
You could still get kicked
So
out.
I've
no
been here
problem.
before. No, yeah, that's true. But before I never. Now with Trump, I feel like I should maybe apply for.
I would advise
qualify
you
for it.
not as an
I've been
immigration
a
challenge.
resident since 1984, so I should.
Any little thing now you could get yourself
Yeah, that's
kicked
true.
out.
So, yeah.
Plus, what I was thinking more to the point of it would be, if you're an American citizen with all these different nationalities, think of how many affirmative action things you could qualify for.
I know. I'm
Housing
just
loans and think
Yeah.
about how all those African
It's
and
true.
Portuguese.
That is true.
You crazy.
I can-
to take
I
it.
can check
Get
any
on
box
it.
I want.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in
Yeah.
Obamacare. Anyway, I was going to say, could you do some sort of Portuguese commercial for Country Smooth Whiskey? Because I bet that would sound even
Wait,
better.
in Portuguese?
If you could say the
With
same
his
thing
accent.
you said.
I
yeah.
love it.
With the tennis racket and
That's what I was going to say.
A bandana.
Yeah.
My feel.
What does it sound like? And say that in Portuguese. Just what you said about how
posso-
awesome it tasted.
Como é que se chama isso? What's the name of this?
Country
Country Smooth.
Smooth.
Country Smooth. Oh.
Yeah.
Esse é o whisky do campo. I've been here so many years that I have to.
You gotta think yourself
smooth
back
is,
into
suave. Portanto, o campo suave, o whisky do campo suave, uma coisa que baixa pela garganta adentro com prazer, uma coisa incrível.
Oy vey.
That sounds fantastic.
Does sound nice, doesn't it? I'd like to try some more of it just based on that. Wow. That is so. It's difficult for you to speak Portuguese now. You forgot.
Well,
You'd have to go back.
It's not difficult, but sometimes it's like
Drag it up.
I've been here. I came here when I was 18, so I'm
Right.
59. So it's many years. But luckily, right after Katrina, I went back to Portugal, and I ended up living there for 6 years. So that I was reacquainted with the culture and even with the language. Because one time I called my parents, and there was a maid there, and she. When my parents arrived, she said, some foreign guy called. Because now I have an accent in my own language.
Right.
So I have an accent when I speak English, I have an accent when I speak Portuguese. So
You're a foreigner everywhere.
I'm a foreigner everywhere. It's okay with me. I mean, I'll take that.
Okay, so Laurie, there you were. You've got a couple of kids now. How many kids did you have when you
3.
came up? 3. How many
3.
when you came up with this idea of
3.
You had the 3 kids.
Yes.
Your husband's off at work working,
Yep.
and so you decided you wanted to drink whiskey, but you didn't like the whiskey that was available. So how do you actually go about creating?
Right.
How do you make whiskey? How did you do it?
Well, so my husband thought I was crazy when I told him what I wanted to do. And
Right.
he's like, first of all, you know nothing about liquor. And number 2, you're a woman. And I said, absolutely, even more the reason why to do it.
Okay. Well, he was right on both of those points. You didn't know anything about the liquor industry,
He was
and
right
you are a
on.
woman.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what happened next?
So being that I consulted businesses and individuals on how to start businesses, grow their business, etc., I knew that there was a certain amount of research that any intelligent entrepreneur or business owner would have to do.
Start drinking.
Right. At that time, lots of Chardonnay.
Right,
Right.
okay.
Now it's lots of this. So I researched about 750 hours before I even pulled the trigger on doing anything. And that's
Okay,
the
so what does
domestic
that-
market, international
okay.
market, where the suppliers are, where the trends are.
Yeah.
And I knew that whiskey was starting to go in the right direction, bourbon whiskey. I knew there was an opportunity. I could not find another female founder, CEO, and owner who literally started a whiskey bourbon company from nothing. Clearly, I'm not a distiller, and I don't claim to be. So I knew that it was really important to me that all the components were made in America. Glass, cap,
What are the
sleeve.
components? How did you even know
Glass.
that? So that was your research.
Yeah.
The bottle, the cap.
Everything is American made.
What else goes into it? The label?
So the label, and
But what
obviously
about
the
the
bourbon,
whiskey
but
in it?
well, clearly that's going to be American.
Okay.
But the main components that are often from China or Mexico, and French has thicker glass and more expensive, is the glass and the cap and sleeve. I would say 65% of all bourbon whiskey glass is from China or Mexico. It's cheaper. It's like 50 to 75% cheaper, right?
Yeah.
And being that my price point's $24.99 at a retail store, my margins would be a bit enhanced if I would have chosen to go overseas. But for me, I didn't want to ever depart from that. Because we're true, Country Smooth is made in America. And that was important for me. So I toured the country to talk to different whiskey and bourbon suppliers.
You just left the kids at home with your husband while you traveled around drinking whiskey?
No, he traveled with me.
Okay.
At the time, I finally convinced him I wasn't completely crazy.
How did you convince him? Because it does sound
a ton of research.
But what did you see?
And
There
he
was
also
a gap in the
knows
market or something?
Gap in the market.
What was the gap?
The gap was, first of all, a very smooth tasting whiskey, 100% American made, female founded, run, and
did you do market research to find out that people would buy that?
Yes.
Well, it was just a hunch. You did?
I did.
Okay. So
All
you
of
spent a
that.
ton of money already, even before you
ton of-
started making
So
it.
you're the face of your company, like in advertising.
Yeah,
marketing
and
thing?
I did not want to be. I mean, in fact,
But if you're going to claim that that you're a
And at first, I went towards some NFL players who were good friends of mine who were awesome guys. And
You know guys in the NFL?
yeah,
How
friends. Just because of the business I'm in.
California,
Okay.
baby. That's
California,
what it's all
Southern
about.
California.
Kidding.
And then we support some fantastic rodeo people, but country music really is where my heart's at in terms of musicians and musicians as a whole. So I researched.
What kind of country music do you like?
Well, I like new and old. I love Carrie Underwood as a female. I think she's dynamic and fantastic.
Do you even know who
Luke
she is?
Bryan.
No, I don't. I only
Luke
know
Bryan.
like maybe 3 country music.
Garth
Merle
Brooks is
Haggard.
incredible. Yeah, Merle Haggard, Garth Brooks, all of them. So I did my research. I got out and started meeting suppliers around the country to make sure, number one.
Suppliers mean what? Supply what?
So bourbon whiskey suppliers.
So
right?
what are they supplying?
So they actually distill and formulate for us.
Yeah.
So a lot of new
Your own
whiskey,
formula.
bourbon brands.
Okay, so I'm confused already. What's in bourbon? How do you make it? What's in it?
So bourbon and whiskey it could be a component of, you can either be corn based, which means you're over 51% corn, rye based, which is over 51% corn, are pretty much you're basically a corn or rye based bourbon or whiskey.
Okay.
In order to be considered a bourbon, you have to be, number one, over 51% corn. 2, you have to be aged in new oak barrels, aged at least 6 months to be considered a bourbon. It doesn't matter what state you're
Considered
distilled
by
in.
whom? Is there some sort of federal
Yes,
standard?
there are
Okay.
definitely federal standards and classifications, all
Okay.
that.
Is it-
All right.
Yeah, even the bourbon own self-regulatory.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And even the labeling requirements on this bottle are so intense that
Okay.
they don't want any of the suppliers like myself to misinform consumers by saying it can't be handcrafted. What was
Yeah.
that?
Is your bourbon bottled in bond?
Yes, it's
What's
good
the
question.
what was Ash's
It's
question?
bottled in bond. Yes.
Bottle what?
Bottled in bond?
Yes.
Bottled in bond.
That
What-
means according to the
Actually,
very
know something
specific
about.
Yeah.
So legally
restaurant business for a while.
in order for us to print on this bottle what you're seeing here, which is the name, which is the proof, which is
Yeah, yeah.
where it's distilled,
And call it a whiskey, of a bourbon whiskey.
we
Okay.
had to have it approved along with the contents of what's in this bottle by the federal government. It's a labeling cola, they call it. So that had to be
The fascist federal
approved. So, for example, we couldn't put handcrafted, which we didn't try
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we knew what had happened with other brands in the past in terms of being misleading to the
But
consumers.
I do agree with this regulation. Otherwise, anybody can call anything whiskey
Yeah.
or
Right.
whiskey
Organic or
organic,
gluten free.
yeah.
Gluten free.
Or-
Okay,
Yes.
You know,
okay, just go through one detail though. So how did you come up with this formula for the
Right.
stuff? Did you start off drinking Everclear and then add stuff to it?
No,
or how
no.
does it
So
work?
so we went through the vetting process of suppliers. So my criteria was, number one, it had to taste country smooth to me, and it was
how
important.
do you do it? Are you doing this? Do you have a distiller? You have a guy that you're paying to
So we
distill
have
it
a
for you?
supplier. So like most,
Okay.
and I'll be honest, unless you're from Jim Beam, although they own their own and they purchase brands, most new brands and even like a High West or certain
They
brands.
source out.
They source out.
I
So what they
see.
do is they meet with the distiller supplier and they say, this is what we're looking to do. And this is what we're looking for. So the supplier will then work with someone like myself and say, okay, if you're interested in having a smooth tasting whiskey and you want it to be not of a $70 retail price point, let's start with this, you know? So that's kind of how you start. And you start with certain suppliers that are scalable, meaning I
Okay.
could sell 500 cases this year because I'm developing a brand, so to speak.
Yeah.
But next year with certain funding and whatever, I want to do 25,000 cases.
Yeah.
Are you scalable
Yeah.
so that
Could
we
you
can do that?
If this takes off,
Do you see
can
what I'm
make
saying?
it? Okay, fair. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that
if
was
you want to
real-
grow, you can't bet on a supplier that can only
No.
supply 500 barrels.
No. Like,
So
not in their backyard, right?
So where is this made? What part of the
So
country?
it's made in Indiana.
Okay.
And you know, it's aged less than 2 years, so we're technically an American bourbon whiskey. Now, to be a Kentucky bourbon, people always ask me that. You have to be distilled in Kentucky, but to be a bourbon, you can be distilled in any
Okay.
state in the country.
So how did
Yeah.
you pick this dude in Indiana to make it?
Well, they're a very large house.
They make other stuff as well.
They do,
obviously.
and
Okay.
they're very respected. We're bottled though in Nashville, Tennessee, which is the home of country music.
Yeah.
All right.
Um,
Does anybody in country music care about this? Have you got anybody behind you?
Yes. Well, I mean, I was able to convince 30 musicians to be part of this first
Well,
annual
assumedly
Country
you're
Smooth
paying
Fest.
them, though, right?
Yeah.
Yes, but still,
Well,
I
that's a
mean,
gig.
So it's a double-edged festival because
It is.
you're promoting a festival and you're promoting your own brand.
yes.
Yeah.
How
Yes.
do you do that? Are you doing this by? I mean, who booked all these bands? You didn't do all that, surely. Did you
So
have people doing
this
it?
first festival, I had a vision of who I wanted to be on board, and we obviously have a certain budget, so I was able to work with the booking agents myself to make sure we had the right fit. I definitely have a production team, and
Geez, you're like a powerhouse business person.
I don't know if I'm a powerhouse. Trust me, there are days where I think
In training.
there are days I think that things are going fantastic, and just like in life, let's be real, there are days you're like, why in the hell did I just start that? But in the end, I think it's definitely going the right direction, and
Right.
I have a fantastic team who supports me, and I can call when things are crazy amazing, and I can call when it's like the shit just hit the fan. Help me.
Are you a tough person? Do you lose it on people and yell and scream? Or?
I wouldn't say I'm a tough person.
Would
I
you
think
like to be?
I think in general, I've surrounded myself personally and professionally with pretty awesome people. That being said, we all make mistakes. We all sometimes miss things, or shit happens, right?
Yeah, Flowtribe.
So that I don't know if I consider them friends, right? In the end, probably not so much. But my point is, my circle of people around me are so amazing that I don't really see the need to go off on them. It's because we all we all have bad days, and I try to keep it together.
This is an incredibly stressful operation, I would think. Why don't you think?
Seems like she's got it all together to me.
You don't seem to be sweating it at all.
Yes, and there are some days more than others that
Right.
you.
So
But
who's looking after the kids all this time? How old are they now?
my oldest is 12. I have two girls, 12 and 10, and my youngest is 7.5.
Wow. That requires a lot of attention right there all
Yes.
by itself.
Right, and when I'm home, I mean, I'm gone about, I would say, every other week, and
Right.
when I'm gone, between my mom and my husband and my sister, and they're all in school, they get home around 3, but the activities and homework and
Right.
all that are pretty intense. Y'all will figure out. Do you have children?
My daughter is 32 years old.
Okay.
But, she was
That
a
is
kid.
You
technically
remember.
a child still.
You
She was a
remember.
kid. I remember that, yeah.
But I was not gone this much when I was raising them, which is important.
Right.
They're really good kids.
Yeah.
They're smart. They're sweet.
And where do
They're
they live?
kind.
In California? somewhere?
Orange County.
Orange County, California. Okay.
Yeah. So it's
Do they like to drink? Are they allowed to try it?
no, nope,
Not a bit.
nope. But I try to teach them moderation in life in general,
Right.
right? So when they're the drinking age, it's gonna be moderate. It's
Okay.
just like you rotate friends, just everything,
Well, in
sports,
Southern
school.
Europe, in Southern Europe, like Portugal, Spain, Italy, there's normally people start introducing the kids to drinking early. Not
Well,
my
New
family.
Orleans too,
My
by
family
the
was
way.
not like that, but a lot of families just kids just sip wine and
Or
do
on their birthday or
Yeah, yeah.
whatever.
And
It's-
Noma, there's
it's-
not-
drinking is a normal thing, especially wine, because it's a cultural thing. So it's not like when
And there's
you
not a lot of
get to
abuse.
18, they have to start binge drinking and pouring and injecting
whatever,
straight
yeah,
alcohol in their
anything.
veins, you know. So it's more
And there's
like
less abuse in
less
later
abuse,
ages.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I would agree with that, to be
Yeah.
honest.
I remember my mom always, sitting behind the bar and she'd pour herself a drink and be like, "This tastes watered down." And because you drink some of the alcohol and pour a little bit of water in there to make it look like you didn't take any of it. But
Plus, it changes.
You did that.
So, yeah.
That's
It does. But I will say, on a serious note, whiskey bourbon changes with an ice cube or even a drop or two of water.
Does it ruin it?
No, it just it opens. It just has a different taste. It's interesting how.
How do you
unless
like
the
yours?
cubic
So we're
ice
drinking
cube
it.
is full of chlorine, then it'll change.
Oh, well, there is the New
God.
Orleans water
Yeah.
problem.
I prefer with one ice cube or two. But
Okay.
I mean, this is my second shot, and I need it more today than normal, to be honest. And so I can drink it neat easily.
You having
and
a bad day today?
I'm having a fine day, but some days are more stressful than others, right?
Must be getting pretty, because we're
Especially
getting
out of
down to
town,
the wire
yeah.
now, yeah.
Yes.
And the show starts on Friday, and today's Wednesday.
The show starts Saturday.
Saturday, not Friday. So it's
20th.
this Saturday, the 20th.
Yes,
Wow.
absolutely.
And who's opening the show? Who's the first band up?
So the first stage opens, and I believe it's Moonsfield Collective, one of the bands from Southern California. And we have a total of on the second stage, which is the Who Dat stage, presented by Bud Light. So I'm excited. We have Tito's Vodka as a big sponsor, Bud Light.
Okay, so you've got
She
other.
gets zaps.
Visit Jefferson Parish.
So they're all selling the drinks out there too.
And
same
they're
as you.
sponsoring, they're partnering us.
So
with
this
us.
is a big deal. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm
But
very
you can
excited.
actually go out there and have a drink and then ride around the go-kart if you wanted to.
You
As long as you
can't.
don't, you can't.
Mechanic bowl? Do they have any mechanic bowl?
No, we have dance floor.
Have a dance floor.
Dance floor. We
Be
have
as drunk as you want
we
on the
have-
dance
We
floor.
have a VIP building, which is pretty large, with sports, with sports going on, because we all know we're at LSU here in New Orleans.
That's an LSU game this
And the
weekend.
Saints are away, but LSU is home versus Mississippi State.
I see you thought of everything. Wow. So where are you staying? Where do you stay when you come to New Orleans?
So I normally stay down by the river because I love water and trees, being from Southern California.
Down by the river.
But like
I've never heard
like
anyone say
riverbed
that.
or-
What does that mean?
Oh, outside of New Orleans?
I'm not on
like
the
in
river.
the Westin or the
Oh,
Hilton.
okay, in a hotel.
okay?
Oh, I thought you
But
meant
I will say, last night I stayed at the Liza Jane, which was pretty fantastic. I'm like, I want to try something new.
Little Liza Jane.
Eliza Jane, and it's a building in the built in the 1800s, and I found it fascinating because it was the old Times Picayune building in the 1880s, and Eliza Jane was a publisher, and she was the first female publisher in the U.S.
Is that,
Is
on,
that right? Isn't it? Is that
that
where
on
the song
Magazine
comes
Street?
from? Little Liza
Yes.
Jane?
Yeah, it's on magazine. Yeah.
And it's a newly renovated hotel. It's
And would
been,
you recommend it?
I just post on my Instagram. This
Okay.
is like
Yeah.
one of my
Well,
newest
let's
favorites.
come over.
Yeah,
gems.
New Orleans is full of those types.
All right.
Have you been to Catahoula? Have you
Y'all
seen
are
Catahoula?
No. What's that
Oh,
like?
it's a little boutique hotel, like right off of St. Charles, but like by Poitras.
Okay.
It's really beautiful.
But can I say one quick
You
thing?
can say one
My
quick thing.
favorite hotel in the city by far is the Hotel Montillon.
Montreal?
Without
With the.
so
I hung out with
Of-
Greg
of the-
Allman in the Montillon.
Did you really?
Of the old
Right.
of the old guard.
And the
it is fantastic. And
Carousel bar.
We have a signature drink at the Carousel Bar
Oh, you
called the
do?
Country Fall. It's on their whiskey favorites menu. So that's my home.
Well-
I go there at least once or twice a week, and I stay
Oh
there
my God.
often.
Well, Blake is on his fourth or fifth shot of
Good.
Country Smooth.
He's tough. That
Blake's
guy
got
can
a
handle
guitar.
it.
What are you playing here?
With my guitar.
Yeah,
This
what
is-
do you- what
This
do you
is an
think?
Alvarez that someone from my work gave to me, and
Okay. No, what I meant really was what song you think of.
I'll sing a song off the new album called "Do Your Thing."
Do your thing.
Yeah.
And the album is called
Begin again.
Begin Again.
The Quickening. Begin again.
Okay.
Well, because when we first started the band, there was a few other players on the album, our first album. But then when we did the next one, it was more the solidified band. So that's why I called it Begin Again. It's more of the sound we're looking for. But
Okay.
it goes a little something like this. Take that out just 'cause- on to me just like the night. I didn't notice, but the star lit it up so bright. Somehow feeling you, feeling me, felt alright. So I gave in, jumped right in, swam in your sea all night. Rise above me just like a wave, and I'm a-floating, I devote control to you, babe. Swallow me so I can see if you can ride me for days, and if you do, I hope you still crash right on top of me, baby. I'm gonna give you a little New Orleans slang. Something I learned in the gas station. On my way out. Why you wiggle, baby? Why you wobble, baby? Why you wiggle, why you wobble, baby? Why you wiggle, why you wobble when you walk that way? Why you wiggle, why you wobble when you walk that way? Why you wiggle, baby? Why you wobble, baby? Why you wiggle, why you wobble, baby? Why you wiggle, why you wobble when you walk that way? Why you wiggle, why you wobble when you walk that way? Wake up to you just like a sun ray, 'cause if you smile, you take my sight away. And if you're Charlie walking, when you gonna come my way? I know it's cool what you do, although I can't say, 'cause what we got, you know it don't need no name. Just as long as I know you gonna do your thing, do your thing. Your thing. Yes, indeed.
Yes. Blake Quick from the Quickening, Do Your Thing, off the album
Begin Again.
Again. Now available on Spotify, YouTube, and anywhere else you can steal music.
Apple iMusic, all that good stuff.
Okay.
CD baby.
So you can steal it anywhere, basically.
Yeah, it's
All right.
streaming anywhere.
All right. That's nice, indeed. Very nice. Hey, listen, Jose, we managed to get through almost this whole conversation without mentioning the fact that you're a photographer.
Oh, yeah.
Which is interesting in itself, yeah. Which, I mean, you've got a lot of amazing, and you have a gallery on Royal Street.
Yes, we do. It's a small, funky gallery.
At 818
style
Royal Street.
Of the French Quarter, the old French Quarter.
Right. So where is it on Royal Street?
818 Royal Street is between Domaine and St. Anne. It's actually one of the newer houses in New Orleans, so it has a front yard, and it's upstairs, so you have to go up a few stairs.
It's not your house, though, is it?
Yeah, on one side there's Bambi DeVille, the Bakelite lady. She has an amazing vintage clothing store.
I've been there before, yeah.
Yeah, she's a great stuff. And then behind us, there's Michael Fedor with paintings and drawings and antiques and collectibles with Lloyd Angeron. And me and my wife, Cecilia, we're contemporary photography. And we have a lot of New Orleans stuff, but we have stuff around the world
Right.
At the gallery, yeah.
So it says here that that before you did that before you became a photographer, this is the information that Graham DePonte, our producer, gave me about you. It said that that you were a stockbroker.
Yeah,
Which is wacky enough, and that's not even the craziest thing.
Yeah. Well, I graduated in economics, and I went to work with my first wife's father, selling furniture door to door in the North Shore in New Orleans.
That was what I was going to ask you.
Outside of New Orleans.
Selling furniture door to door.
Door to door on credit. So
What does that look like?
Well,
You have a truck?
back in the day, I started in 1984. I did it until 2003, with the exception of the years that I was a professional photographer and I was a stockbroker. So I would always go back because I could make really good money. I knew how to do that. I was really good at it.
Door-to-door furniture salesman. Has anyone ever come to your door, knocked on the door and said, I'm selling furniture?
Well, just let you know that
Yes or
all
no?
of the...
No, Laurie, and you live in Orange County after all.
Yeah.
Blake?
Just let you know that...
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
I usually get Jehovah's Witnesses, but no.
Well, all of the the big furniture stores in New Orleans, like Hurwitz and Mintz, Mintz and Mintz, and whatever those stores are or were, they all started door to door. Like Hurwitz
Well, I know
and Mintz
there
were
is a
Jewish
company
people
called
from Russia.
There is a company called Door Furniture, but that's a different.
Yeah, Door Furniture is just their
not
name.
door
just the
to door
last name.
furniture.
Yeah.
Last name.
I don't think they did start it. I don't know. Maybe they did start. Maybe
What
the
do you
Grateful
mean
were
door
followed.
to door? It's just a cold call. You knock
Everything
on the
was
door.
door to door
So-
back in the days, like in the 30s, 20s, 30s. Everything
Yeah.
was door to door.
Really?
And we were like also selling on credit, so people would buy from us, and we would collect the payments, and we actually go to the house and collect the payments. So this kind of it was mostly in the North Shore and mostly black people in black neighborhoods. But you do develop like a relationship, and it's like a familial thing where
So cool.
the mother, the daughter, all of a sudden the daughter that was 5 years old, now she's 18 and she's buying from you, and so it was a really interesting thing that I did, unlikely for a foreign guy from Portugal to come here and sell
Great tennis
furniture.
player.
Yeah.
No kidding.
So, but at the same time, it was something that kind of taught me how to be able to approach people you got to get in the door to sell, right? So I carry that towards me in the photography that I do, which is mostly like street photography or documentary
Yeah,
photography.
it's interesting talking to you because you seem such a positive, upbeat, nice person. Mm-hmm. And yet your photography is so grim.
I wouldn't call it grim. I
What-
mean, I can see some
it's
people look
brutal,
at grim.
Brutal.
Brutal.
What would you call it?
Well, life is brutal, but I think I like in terms of the Katrina and all the stuff. Like for me, is inspiring. Those images because look at me and my wife. We went through it. We were here.
Right.
We went to Portugal. My wife went to Rome. Then she went to New York. Guys, we were from the best schools in New York. And then I came back here. We bought a house. We started a business. I have a huge body of work that I did.
But even
that
the stuff
otherwise-
that you shot in Cuba and the stuff that you shot here in New Orleans on the street, it's all really like close-up sort of...
It's close up with with the street and close up with.
It's like people,
with-
a lot of suffering, it seems.
Well, I mean, suffering from the perspective of people like us that have a little more, but from the people, I mean, there's suffering, but there's also that side of pride and the side of people that are making it, and side of community, and so to me is inspiring. To be in the middle of these people and to capture that side to me. So it's not just like miserableism, which I hate.
Miserableism, what a great word.
which is
never
like
heard
I
that
don't
word.
like that just because it's just like showing people when they're down. One thing is showing people when they're down and just like or even generationally down. Well, another thing is to show people that even though they are not rich, even though they're not middle class, even though they are struggling every day, they still have their
Joy.
rituals and their joy and their fighting, and so that's what's important to me, and that's what I think I try to portray in my photography, not consciously, but just in general when I come across a different culture, whether there's a black culture in New Orleans, where's Cubans, where's my own culture in Portugal where I travel, and which Portugal, even though it's Europe, is a poor country. I see that, and I see that struggle, and that to me is like inspiring. It's like if you
It's
can,
real, too.
yeah. So
Like on that note, we are going to have to get out of here, actually.
okay.
But I'm glad we finally got to actually mention the fact that you're a successful and very talented photographer.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate
not,
it.
not just a tennis player, not just a good
Not just
tennis
a-
Not
player.
just a good-looking tennis player, door-to-door salesman from Portugal. Another.
With
Just another.
fantastic accent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, listen, let me just tell you one thing before we go. Thank you to Basics Swim and Gym. We can get a fashion swimsuits and yoga clothes. And lingerie at Basics Underneath. Thank you to the Hangover Destroyer, the only natural product medically proven to prevent a hangover. You can find it at hdestroyer.com, and the Positive Vibrations Foundation, who create and encourage community through the development and preservation of arts, music, culture, and heritage. Thanks to all those people for helping make the show possible
you.
today. And thank you guys.
to
And Laura,
you.
before we get out of here, we have to just make sure everyone understands this. It's the Country Smooth Festival Fest. It's this weekend. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday.
2 days. Saturday and
Doors
Sunday.
open at 10:30 and it's family friendly.
And it's 20% off, so it's
Right now,
40-something
if you buy your tickets online, they're 20% off with a coupon that you get when you go to the website. But that won't be the case on Saturday and Sunday.
Okay, and I cannot believe I got through the whole show without mentioning your eyelashes once,
Thank you.
which I've been staring at the whole time. How do you get those on? Are they they're not real, are they?
I don't know.
They're real.
They were there when I woke up.
They're hypnotizing us.
Everything that exists is real.
So that is real.
Yeah, it's
Well,
real.
Just about everything else is real.
Okay. Just about everything else is real.
No,
Laurie
I'm kidding.
Carcich, thank you so much, the founder and
Thank
CEO
you.
of Country Smooth Whiskey.
Yes.
So we can buy Country Smooth Whiskey here in
At
New Orleans.
Rouse's, at almost all the Rouse's, Quista Pace in the north. Speaking of the North Shore,
Yeah, Quista
Quista
Dornax,
Pace, okay.
Sayas, the Carousel Bar at the Hotel Monsignor asked for the Country Fall, which is our signature drink on the whiskey favorites portion of the menu.
And tonight we'll
many
come
more.
down to the Liza Jane Hotel and hang out with you down there.
I'll be working till about midnight, but
Okay, so we've
We'll
got
be
plenty
there
of
when you
time.
get up.
All right.
12:30.
All right. And Jose Fernandes, thank you very much. We can find
Thank you.
at
Enjoyed it.
818 Royal Street.
Royal Street, yes.
And what's the gallery called? It's called
It's called 818
818.
Contemporary Photography Gallery.
And Blake Quick from the Quickening has been here as well. Thank
Yes,
you so
indeed.
much. And we can find your new record called Begin Again on Spotify and all the other various places you can.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Graham.
Keep
Appreciate
going.
it.
It's great to
Yeah.
meet all of you. Our
Keep
show
the
is
train on
produced
the
today
tracks.
by Graham DePonte. Our
Everybody
music
can make it
producers
as,
are Christian
artist.
Unruh and Monique Pyle. Thomas Walsh is our technical director. And today's show is engineered by Eric Morrill. Our Facebook Live feed director is Asher Griffith, who put this whole thing on Facebook Live. If you didn't see it on Facebook Live, go to the It's New Orleans Facebook page and see what we all look like. Our fact checker and social media connector is Andrew Searock. Our theme music was written by and is currently being played by Mitch Foreman. If you'd like to be on our show and you can stay upright for about 60 minutes while drinking alcohol, drop us a line. Our address is on our website, itsneworleans.com. We can also check out many other hours of happy hour we've recorded previously, as well as some other shows we make around here, including Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti live from Commander's Palace, Louisiana Eats with Poppy Tooker, and our award-winning podcast about death called Death the Podcast. You can also find other great Louisiana podcasts at itsacadiana.com and itsbatonrouge.la. You can keep up with us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and a bunch of other time-sucking social media as well. On all of it, we're called It's New Orleans. You can find photos from this show on itsneworleans.com and on our It's New Orleans Facebook page. These photos were taken today by Jill Lafleur. You can find more of Jill's photos as well at lafleurphoto.com. If you listen to this on your favorite podcast app, thank you for subscribing to us. Take a moment, if you've got one, to rate and review us. That helps other people find us. Our show is recorded live today at Wayfare on Ferret Street in Uptown New Orleans. Happy Hours of production of INO Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com. For Andrew Duhon, he'll be back here either next week or the week after. Everyone else around the table here at Wayfare and back at our office at INO Broadcasting. Thanks for joining us. I'm Grant Morris. I'll see you back here next week for more Happy Hour.
Cheers.
Yes.